There was a time when silence meant absence, a hollow echo in a crowded room, the space between sentences where hope used to live. But then you came along, and quiet changed its shape. No longer cold, no longer void, silence became the pause where your breath nestled against mine, the stillness where my heart stopped searching. I didn't need your words to know I was loved. Your presence alone softened the chaos, soothed the ache I had long stopped acknowledging. I learned that love doesn't always shout or even speak. Sometimes it's just a glance that says, I see you, or the way your hand lingers a second longer than it has to. And in those sacred silences between us, the ones most would overlook, I found the truest language I've ever known. A language of stillness, of calm, of peace. When the world around me spun, you didn't try to anchor me. You simply held the space and let silence do the healing. For the first time, silence didn't just echo. It answered. It loved back. The first time I saw you, everything inside me hushed, not in fear or surprise, but like a theater going dim before the curtain rises. It was instinctual, reverent, as though the universe wanted quiet, just to hear what would unfold between us. You didn't speak much, neither did I, but I remember how the air felt, thick with potential, like the sky before a storm. My heart, which had always wandered like a leaf in wind, suddenly paused and listened. And your eyes, oh your eyes, they weren't loud, but they held volumes. I saw questions in them, hesitations and hopes, maybe even a little brokenness, but beneath all that, I saw someone who could match my silence with his own, not to compete, but to complete. We didn't need introductions. We were two pieces of a symphony, finally landing in the same measure. You smiled, and that was the beginning of everything. That's when silence turned sacred, when the noise of the world finally meant less than the quiet of your gaze. People always talk about fireworks, grand gestures, and declarations that echo through cities, but love with you was a candle in a dark room. Small, steady, unwavering. We never needed to scream our feelings, never rushed to name the weight we carried. It was there, between shared cups of tea and eyes meeting across rooms, that love bloomed like ivy, slow but strong, wrapping itself around everything I thought I understood. In your silence I heard devotion. In your stillness I felt your pulse beating in time with mine. It was in the way you'd reach for me without being asked, or how you'd pause before answering, like you were listening to my heart instead of my words. And I found myself wanting to listen too, not just to your voice but to the quiet between us. I realized that some of the loudest loves are the ones without noise, the ones that show up without fanfare but refuse to leave. In your quiet I found my home. Even when we were apart, I carried your silence with me. Not as an absence, but as a presence, soft like the scent of a familiar cologne lingering on a scarf. Your silence became my sanctuary, something I returned to when the world got too loud or my thoughts became too cruel. I would close my eyes and imagine the way you'd look at me, saying everything without a single word. That gaze of yours, it was poetry in stillness. It told me I was enough, even in the moments I felt anything but. And when I'd wake from a restless sleep, it was the memory of your quiet comfort that settled me back into peace. No phone call, no message, just the sense that somewhere you were holding space for me. It's rare, isn't it, to find someone who doesn't try to fix you, but simply sees you, stays with you, and lets silence be the balm. You were that rare thing, and in your quiet love I found the courage to soften, to stay, to love in return. Do you remember the nights when we'd lie together and say nothing at all? No confessions, no questions, just skin against skin and the sound of our breaths mingling. I remember those nights more vividly than any conversation, the way your fingers would trace circles on my back, grounding me, telling me without words that I was safe, that I was seen. Those moments taught me that love doesn't always need a voice. Sometimes it just needs presence, someone willing to share their silence and make it a place of peace. And you did that over and over, until I stopped fearing silence and started craving it, craving you. The world outside could collapse, but in your arms it was always calm, always still. There was no need for stories, no pressure to impress, just truth in its purest form, two souls saying more in their quiet than they ever could aloud. That kind of love is rare, and I'll spend the rest of my life honoring it, remembering every word you never had to say,